to it, or maybe they just like he was like quote unquote attached to it,
like a consultant or something,
or just that he like owns the property, so his name is attached to it, like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, I feel like if he owns it, they probably had to at least consult him in some way or get his blessing, and I would imagine he'd probably want to have at least some sort of like maybe just input or have to okay certain things. But before we actually, what is even the point at this point? We're here for a special reason, and that's the PTC Movie Club. So, welcome everyone to the Pass Control Podcast, a show where a couple of best friends talk about the latest in video games and nerd culture. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we talk about Darko too much. Either way, we have a new episode for you each and every week. As always, I'm your host, Brenden Groom, and joining me on this lovely Saturday evening is the anime senpai himself, Mr. Michael Desir. Mike, how are you doing this evening?
How does one suck a fuck?
I don't know. That is the question. That is the question. I hope that's the one quote that Mike pulls from this whole movie.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, perfect. I got one quote. It's one of Seth Rogen's only lines. It's his first line. I like your boobs. And then he doesn't talk until like the end of the movie, and I'm like, what? Part of me was hoping that was the only thing he said in the whole movie.
Right. Shut up.
Jeez, that threw me for a loop. Also joining us this evening is the Fortnite father, Mr. Todd fucking Gary. Todd, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Good to go. Good to go.
Love it. And rounding us out this evening.
I was hoping that would be better.
Rounding us out this evening is the Disney daddy. Some may call him the Pixar poppy. Or, this is why they call him Donnie Darko. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Dominic 40. Dom, how are you doing tonight?
I was unaware that we missed out on a stage adaptation of Donnie Darko that they made in the Zero Arrow Theater in Cambridge in 2007.
Weird.
Ooh. Yeah.
Interesting.
Just missed out on it. Just missed out on it by almost 15 years.
I will say, before we get into tonight's episode, before we get into this PTC Movie Club episode for October, which is Donnie Darko.
Darkle.
Donnie Darkwing Donnie. Donnie Darkwing Duck.
Donnie
Yeah.
Darkle.
Donnie Darkle, which was Todd's pick. We did any of us know, or Todd, did you knowingly pick this movie knowing that it's the 28th anniversary of this movie?
No, I picked it because it was a Halloween-ish kind of movie. It takes place on Halloween. And I actually had another movie I wanted to pick, and I completely fucking forgot about it. But then my mind took over that I was like, oh, I should pick a movie that kind of has to do with Halloween a little bit. And I just went with this one.
Yeah. With the way that it's working out, 4 of us rotating every month, is that put us in place where we always all have the same month, or will it rotate at all?
Well,
I think with daylight savings time, we
that's not how this works.
Yes,
but
even numbers means that we'll
have the same months, right? Yeah. Okay. So Todd, there you go. You can save it. Don't spoil it. You can save it for next October.
Well, I actually didn't have it wasn't a Halloween movie, but I mean, it's going to be my next pick. Anyway,
I mean, I would not consider this movie a Halloween movie. Would any of us?
It's on Halloween.
It takes place in October.
It actually ends on October 2nd.
There's a Halloween party. Well, there's a costume party in the movie.
Yeah. There's a costume party because it starts October 2nd.
And it's important.
And then it lasts for the next 28 days or so.
Actually, to be fair, it never
27 days.
It never 28 days. It never gets
28 days later
to Halloween because it ends on October 30th.
Oh.
So there you go.
So this isn't even
that was the one
Halloween
question
movie.
you had coming out of that movie.
This is a bullshit movie.
Bullshit.
But before we get into this episode, which I guess at this point, if you haven't watched Donnie Darko and haven't figured that out by the title of this episode or us talking about Donnie Darko for the last few minutes, this episode is going to be us talking about Donnie Darko. So if you haven't seen it,
Or if you don't want time travel spoiled for you.
that's true. If you don't want time travel spoiled for you, this will be your time to exit and revisit this episode at a later date when you have watched Donnie Darko, which is the prequel to Donnie Darko.
I'm forever gonna call it Donnie Darko now.
It's the real Donnie Darko. That's what I'm saying. The real Donnie Darko. This episode of the Passing Trail podcast is sponsored by our good friends at Goodnight Fatty. If you're in the Salem, Massachusetts area on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday evening, you want yourself something sweet, something hot, something fresh and tasty right out of the oven, you can head on down to 1 Washington Square and get yourself a delicious fatty and educate yourself on these tasty, tasty treats by heading over to @GoodnightFatty on social media. Or you know what? You want something hot, something sweet, something delicious to start your Sunday off morning? Start your Sunday morning off right. I'm about to do that tomorrow, let me tell you, is get myself one nice, hot, chubby, fresh out of the oven. And if you want to get yourself a chubby or educate yourself on what these are, you can head on over to @GoodMorningChubby and get yourself some delicious food, Instagram goggles going, so you can make your way up here and get you some delicious food. Anyways, a couple other housekeeping things before we roll into this PTC Movie Club episode. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to keep going. We're just going to ride.
Yo, fucking crazy.
We before we get into it, Mike, you want to reveal what your November pick is? It's Mike's pick, correct? It goes Todd. It goes Todd, Mike, me, Dom. That's the rotation, correct?
I think that's the rotation.
Okay.
I did not actually pick it yet. I figure I'm just gonna look at my backlog of films and just pick something from that.
I mean, this is being recorded on the first week of November, so I feel like you gotta think about that.
Let me take a look at my backlog.
While you're taking a look at that, we'll reveal it at the end of the show.
Let's see. I got.
Mike's just rifling in. What are we thinking?
Here.
What are we thinking?
We can stay on theme. I could pick Nightcrawler.
Ooh.
You just want to continue with this Jake Gyllenhaal nonsense?
We could. Let's see. I've also got Baby Driver on here. Let's see. You guys all watched Jojo Rabbit, right? I think I'm the only person that didn't watch it.
Yes, but I mean, I think
I didn't watch it yet.
I mean, I think we've also gone like we have picked movies where.
Yeah, but I feel like that.
To be fair, Brennan's probably the only one that didn't see Donnie Darko before today.
Yeah,
or before last week.
That's true.
So I mean, that's you can pick as you please, Mike.
You gotta pick whatever you want.
Whatever makes you the happy guy.
Let me see what's streaming where before I commit to anything.
Take your time. Just muster over it a little bit,
Yeah, I'll tell you guys at the end of the episode.
Yeah, give us the end of the episode. While before we get into that though, I can't bear to go 2 episodes in a row where we skip everyone's favorite new hot segment, which is Animal Crossing, where Mike, who loves Animal Crossing but has never played Animal Crossing, has to tell us what this Animal Crossing character is and what they do.
You're sticking with that name? That's the name you're going
I don't know. You got a better one?
Oh God, no.
All right. Well, for now, it's Animal Crossing. We can. This is an evolving segment, Mike. Things change.
All right. Do what you gotta do.
So what I think we're gonna do here, Mike, is we are going to go with. We're gonna go with a little character that goes by the name Red. Mike, who is Red? Or I guess what is Red?
What is Red?
I'll do you one better.
Color.
Why?
Why is Red? Let's see. So I'm gonna go with Clifford the Big Red Dog. So I'm gonna say
no,
dog.
Mike, don't go with that one. I'm actually not even sure if I'm right about this, but think comedy legends.
Oh, Red Fox.
So are you going?
We'll go with Dom's answer, Fox.
Mike, I'm happy to say that Red is a kitsune, also known as a fox.
Mm.
I mean, that's a.
How many tails does he have?
Just one.
Ah, that's lame.
So you got the assist from Dom there. What
Mhm.
what are you thinking that Red does?
Right, Red Fox. Yeah, he was on Sanford and Son, right? What were they, plumbers? What did they do?
What? For some reason, I feel like they were scrappers.
Yeah, I feel like they were in a junkyard, maybe? I don't know. Let's stay on this train of thought, though.
I
Clearly,
mean,
I think we're getting somewhere.
you
I think
could
we're getting real close.
maybe make a really, 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 really big leap from that mentality and potentially stumble upon the correct answer, but I don't think that road is going to get you there, Mike. So you might want to move your train of thought off of that.
Anything to do with ninjutsu? Some sort of ninja?
How do you know
no.
that? How do you know that?
Todd's spitting straight facts to me. He's not bullshitting me. He knows I know.
I don't know if this will help you or not. It probably won't, but
It
I'm
will
gonna
not.
say it anyway. He has also been referred to as Crazy Red and Jolly Red. These really aren't going to help you.
No.
Can I give him one more clue?
I know the
Yes.
Jolly Green Giant sells broccoli.
He's also
wait.
known as a scam artist.
Okay. So he's some sort of artist of the scam variety.
So what do you think Red does?
I think he sells you. Yep, that's right. He sells you because this is a transactional thing. He sells you broccoli.
Go on.
Not
I think I'm
broccoli.
gonna stick with the broccoli thing.
Not broccoli. Todd gave you a hint.
I'll be honest, I already forget what Todd said.
Todd said he's a scam artist, Mike. What is he selling you?
Tricks.
He's
Or
a
cheats.
he's a
Mostly
scam
tricks.
artist. What is he selling you, Mike? Yeah.
Your illusions, Michael.
He's not selling you tricks.
Not selling me tricks. He is selling you knockoff Nikes.
You are halfway there.
Getting warmer.
Selling you real Nikes.
You are all the way not there now.
I have ideas.
He sells
He's the
you
one that sells you paintings.
fake paintings. He does have real paintings from time to time, but he sells you a lot of fake paintings, and you have to sniff out the right ones if you want to complete your museum. So there you have it, Mike. Red. He shows up, sells you fake art, and sometimes real art.
He's the first thing I downloaded on.
And how is this legal in
Harvey's
the
app.
Animal Crossing world?
I mean, he shows up on a boat. He shows up on a fucking boat, Mike. There's no laws on the open ocean, Mike. Hasn't Arrested Development taught you anything?
Yeah, there's maritime law. You're a crook, Captain Hook. Judge, won't you throw the book at the pirate?
All right, let's get into why we're here.
You have to be careful about which paintings he sells you, though, because of the implication.
It is weird because he does. So the paintings that he sells you are real paintings, like from the real world. And if you're familiar with the actual painting, it's basically every painting in the game has a real version and then the counterfeit version. And if you're familiar with what the actual painting looks like, you'll be able to tell if it's the real painting, because all of the fake ones have a very subtle difference that is not.
So it's that whole part in Madarame's palace when you're running through and you'd be like, which one's the real, whatever the name of the painting was.
Sayuri.
And then the Sayuri. And I'm like, maybe it's this one. And then Yusuke goes, no, that's the wrong one. I'm like, Yusuke, you know the fucking painting. Why don't you just point it out for me and that make me look for it?
Well, I mean, he wants you to really have a fucking nose for art, Mike. He wants you to take the time, you know? He wants you to know. Fuck, I hated it. I liked Madarame's palace, but I also hated Madarame's palace at the same time. Anyways.
Also, Yusuke's mask was
a kitsune.
He was a fox.
Fuck, Mike, you had all the hints right there. You have all the clues right there.
Dom gave me the real hint. You were no help at all.
Yusuke is a fucking artist.
Yeah, you're saying that now after we've already made the connection.
Anyways, Mike. Before we get into the aforementioned Donald Darko, There's also a Donnie Darko DLC currently in one Call of Duty Warzone, which I think is ridiculous. I don't know if anyone.
Is it really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
You
knew there
can
was
play
a
as Frank.
Ghostface one they did last week.
You can get.
You drop a jet engine on someone.
Yes. Yes. You can. Yes.
Yeah.
You.
Awesome. I'm
Awesome.
going into Call of Duty
dope.
now.
It really, I actually like the way the skin looks, but yeah, like if I
So
play Call of Duty,
I don't know if it's like a stealth kill or whatever, but if you
I think it is.
yeah, so if you can buy his skin, like Frank's skin, and if you go up and stealth kill someone, they turn. It's like a cutscene. They turn around and try to stab you, but it like blocks it, like it does when fucking Donnie tries to stab him. It's like an invisible wall or whatever, and then a fucking jet engine falls on him. Like that's like this is some fucking Looney Tunes shit.
Right.
That is fantastic.
I don't know if they added anything else.
Are we playing Call of Duty later?
I am not, but you guys
That
can
game
go
was
for
like
it.
what, like a 300 gigabyte download?
Yeah, it's you need to.
It's on my Xbox already.
You have to buy a second Xbox.
I
to download it.
deleted Warzone, and the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was still like 180. So it's like, and that's without Warzone. So it's so ridiculous.
Before we get into the movie, with a budget of $6 million, released on October 26, 2001, Donnie Darko, in its 70-day, 10-week
That
release.
wasn't wide release though, was it? I don't think it was like
Widest release was
like,
58 theaters.
Jesus, wow.
So in that 10 weeks, where do we think Mr. Donald Darko ended up?
Say 5 million.
It's funny. I feel like I did just read it too.
I find it
Like,
kind of
was just-
funny. I
I was
find it
just
kind of
reading
sad.
up. Don't you bring him into this?
He brought himself
were ahead
into
of
it.
the game on that. They were ahead of the game on that song.
It still doesn't matter. No, anytime I hear that song, all I think about is the Gears of War trailer. No,
Yeah.
like I had to watch that trailer after I watched the movie. I was like, I need to watch this trailer now. So Todd,
I got really into head over heels after watching this movie again.
It's so
Tears for
good.
Fears
Well,
song.
I just want to say one thing before we go into this is that I think the most recent version I watched leading into rewatching the original version was the director's cut.
Yeah.
And they changed a lot in the director's cut, which is actually, I was really surprised because it's been a while since I watched the original. But they even changed the opening song, like when he's like riding his bike at the very beginning.
Yeah.
From like it's Echo and the Bunnyman in the original one, and I forget who they put in the second one. It might be another NXS song or something. But yeah, I was like confused.
I think I watched the director's cut this time.
I did not.
Did you?
The director's cut's the one with the words that like come across the screen like during particular parts, right?
Like the
Or is
part,
that the original?
That doesn't happen in the
they're
original.
when they're watching like the self-help stuff from like the priest between like the fear and whatever. There's like a more drawn out, longer thing that shows like the characters basically in the story and what's going to happen. Did they show that when you were watching it?
I can't remember.
There's no. I don't believe that there's any scenes where there's words that come up, Dom, in the regular version, because I did not watch the director's cut, even though someone told me to watch the director's cut. But
I've read a lot that people hate the director's cut because it basically they were like mad that it spells it out too much for you and basically doesn't.
Yeah,
let you,
they try to hold your hand through all the time travel.
yeah,
stuff,
yeah, they like show you passages of the book like over and over again, so you can like read passages, like large passages of like. every part of the
but
book.
I mean, so I guess we can get into it in a second. But Todd said this hit $5 million. It had a $6 million budget. What do you guys think?
Let's see. Let's say 10.
Okay.
10 mil.
All right.
I was gonna actually say 10. I'll say 12.
All right. Well, all of you very wrong. Donnie Darko worldwide
58 states, 58
worldwide he cracked not even 3 million, just below 3 million. So not a good run for Mr. Donnie Darko. So there you have that. There's the according to Box Office Mojo, the numbers that it did. We'll give a quick synopsis before we just dive right in. Donnie Darko is a 2001 American science fiction psychological thriller film written and directed by Richard Kelly and produced by Non-Important Things. Richard Kelly, I'm not familiar with the filmmaker. Does he have other films that are?
He has another movie that I was almost going to pick instead of this, but you guys would probably we'd be talking about some very strange things right now. It's called Southland Tales.
I hear people rip on that movie all
I
the
fucking
time.
loved it. I loved it. I mean, I don't. It's very, very weird. It doesn't make any sense. And I have like the graphic novels on it. So if you didn't read the graphic novels, the movie makes zero sense.
The Rock is in it.
The Rock is in it. Sarah Michelle Gellar, like
Sean William Scott, Mandy Moore, Justin Timberlake. What is this fucking movie?
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy. It was originally billed as a musical, and then like he had to cut so much stuff. His budget was like super like he wasn't able to do a lot of the stuff. It's kind of like a commentary on it's like social commentary. The whole movie is like basically, but I will go. I'll just go on. That, and he also did The Box, which I actually really like the movie The Box with Cameron Diaz and Donut Lord from fucking Sonic.
I love how he's just Donut Lord now.
Yeah, that's all I know him as.
Cyclops?
John Marsden.
Yes.
Yeah. James.
No, I know. John Marsden is from Red Dead. That's why I said it.
Yeah.
I was appealing to Todd there. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen it. I pulled up his his movie filmography. I haven't seen any of these movies, and that's the first time I've watched Donnie Darko. So, I guess we can kind of run through a quick plot synopsis. Or I guess, do we even really need to do that? Like, is that what the people need?
I mean, if they watched it, they watched it. So
yeah. So, I guess who wants to kick things off? Like how, or did everyone rewatch it or no?
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to say one thing about this movie before we even dive into it.
Todd's already done that like 3 times. Like, I want to say something before we dive in.
Well,
what do we got?
It's funny because rewatching this movie nails where we are right now as a country for a movie that was done in 2001.
How so?
If you think
that took place in 1980.
I'm so confused. Yeah.
Okay,
it's a movie that was filmed in 2001 that takes place in the 80s, but it nails 2021.
Yeah, 100%.
It's time travel, man. Time travel. We're caught in a loop.
So it's religious people talking about how they don't trust teachers anymore. Parent-teacher meetings where that's what's going on. It's like it's very. There's a lot of things that stood out to me watching this where I was just like, "Whoa!" Like that's like where we are right now with the stupidity of like. So
what you're saying is we need to find what the artifact is, and we need to obtain that, and then reset the timeline. Is that what you're trying to say?
Like the way she's talking about, like like the way that I don't want to go diving too much into this, but the way like they're using critical race theory against like schools now is like the same way like the way they're using the book that has something in it that they don't like about what's going on in the book, and they want those books pulled out of schools and everything. And it was just that scene in particular when they're at the PTA meeting and they're all talking about that stuff. I was like, whoa, that is like, because I've been watching like on the news, like a lot of these like people coming in and talking about how they don't want their kids wearing masks and everything. And I was just like, this pretty much mirrors what's going on right now in our society as far as like schools and everything. And I was just kind of saw that.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I don't want to like give this too much credit because I feel like that's a cyclical thing that always happens where it's like
I never really thought about it.
They always have stuff that they want to pull out and bastardize and basically blame all of the bad things on. You know what I mean? They do it with movies, music, video games, do it fucking everything.
Like teachers that like Drew Barrymore was the enemy. Like teachers are the enemy that like are teaching. Like it's
I think both in media, but also sort of in reality, it's always like a lot of times it is like religion versus knowledge, no matter what. And not to say that like someone who is religious is always wrong, or someone that is on the scholarly side is always wrong or right. But like, there's definitely that thing of people who are very into religious texts, usually Christianity, have this like pushback against scholarly works or just seemingly knowledge in general. Anyways, this is a very bizarre episode. We haven't talked about the movie.
I just double checked, and I did not watch the director's cut. I remembered that the director's cut is a different book that they're learning in English. It's not
Graham Greene.
yeah. It's
The
Watership Down.
Destroyer?
Yeah. The Destroyers. In the director's cut they're reading Watership Down.
I wonder why that's changed.
I don't remember. I definitely watched the director's cut at some point.
Yeah. So
I don't know which version I watched originally. I know I watched the theatrical cut most recently, but I might have seen the director's cut the first time I watched the movie.
I owned the director's cut in high school, so if you borrowed it from me, you probably watched the director's cut.
So
I might have.
for the three of you, since you've seen this movie at least once in the past and have rewatched it, has your opinion changed on the movie either way? Or I guess that same question, but also like, do you?
No, I think that's a good question.
Do you like this movie though, or no?
No, I still liked it. I do think that when I was younger watching it, it was a lot easier to relate to with like the high school stuff and everything. And like, I was out of college and everything. But when the first like 5 minutes, I was like, wait, does this movie not hold up? And then after watching a little bit, I'm like, oh no, it's good. Like I was questioning myself though for like the first like 10 minutes of the movie though. Because it's been such a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what my thoughts were the first time I saw it, and I feel like when I watched it this time, I was more confused. Like I understood very broad concepts, very broad. Like, okay, there's some time travel involved, this, that, and the other. But then, like, just to see what I might have missed, I started like looking things up, and this must be all information that was pulled from the director's cut, where it holds your hand through it.
Mhm.
Like, how is anyone supposed to even begin to even interpret some of this stuff?
No,
even
the
hazard a
first time I
guess.
watched it, I literally went online and was searching. I'm like, what had just happened? It was like one of those things. Like I immediately like had to Google stuff. And
So interestingly enough, I literally just read an article that was written 5 hours ago. It just popped up
Weird.
on my feed about how Donnie Darko has ruined cinema, and that Donnie Darko was the start of directors making like tie-in merchandise that would like hold the viewer's hand through like the experience.
are they saying director's cut did that or just?
He
Or just
wrote a
original
book
movie?
afterwards that like described the concepts that were in the philosophy of time travel book in the movie.
Okay.
And then those concepts ended up in the director's cut apparently.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, I don't agree
But
with that statement by that article.
I mean, I don't know that I do either. It was essentially just saying like 20 years ago there was no movies like you didn't have to like read a companion novel to understand like what's going on. And now with as recently as Rise of Skywalker being an enormous film, it's like the culmination of 40 years of Star Wars. Like you have to read the tie-in novels to understand like, all right, why is Palpatine still alive?
Yeah.
Like if you don't read the novel, then it's just like, what are we doing here? Like,
Oh, because I'm that guy that's like, what are we doing here? Because I like never knew that Palpatine was ever back. I'm like, this is stupid. This is fan service. Like it's
no,
like,
it's it explains it in a novel, and he also like talked about how like you can't go see an Avengers movie without having seen like 6 hours worth of like Avengers films like leading up to
what's
that.
going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I understand, but also at the same time, like that the person who wrote that, like, sure, that's like watching episode 6 of the first season of a TV show without watching episode 1 through 5. It's like you're putting yourself in that position on purpose. Like the MCU is a bad example because it's like it's kind of
the
like
MCU is not
show.
a great idea because they're not like sequels. I mean, they almost act as sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all like there's typically an overarching story. Like some of them are episodic, but a lot of it's not like, dropping into, say, Seinfeld's on the TV behind me. Like you could probably drop into any episode of Seinfeld and
for the most
you don't
part,
need to know anything.
Yeah, same with Curb. Yeah, same exact thing. Yeah. Well, do you guys know that this movie's considered to be a quote unquote superhero movie?
According to who?
I'm not surprised given what I read about like
Like,
oh
do
yeah,
you know,
Donnie
like,
has telekinesis. I'm like, okay.
telekinesis? Yeah, he's the reason. He's standing there at the end, pulling that fucking jet engine
Jet
off.
engine.
That's what he's doing there at the end. He does that. He's doing that, and you know, putting the axe into the head of the school. He has like super strength. You know, like he's like it's
Yeah, but is that what's
little-
actually going on, or is the movie just
Yeah.
fucking with us?
No, that's what's actually going on. Yeah, he's the one. He's the reason. He like once he realizes everything that's going on. Like I think it's like a couple days before, I forget. But he pulls that engine off of his mother and sister's plane in order to course correct everything that happened.
So I guess like I watched. Okay, so me watching this movie today was the first time I've ever seen this film, and I was very confused for a lot of the movie. And at the end of the movie, when it ends, and it ends with I forget his girlfriend's character's name.
Gretchen.
Gretchen waving to Donnie's mom. I'm just like, okay, so do they actually know each other? Was this like
So that scene is part of the larger scene where you see Patrick Swayze like crying in his hands, and you see I forget who else is in that
Barrymore
montage.
you pretty much see everyone? So I
The kid holding
Barrymore's smoking a
his eye.
cigarette.
The
Yeah.
kid holding his eye, like
It's-
feeling his eye. Like,
yeah. So I did
It's
read
because
some.
they're all experiencing deja vu as if they had all lived through those events before.
Yeah.
and
So
and Patrick Swayze's character kills himself. Like that's what he does after. I can't remember if it's in the director's cut
it's
or not.
not
but
in the
he actually
regular
shoots-
movie.
No, he
Yeah.
shoots himself basically. Like once
So-
he like wakes up and everything.
So without knowing this stuff until after, when I started to read some like, I basically just Googled ending of Donnie Darko, and I wanted to see kind of like what was out there for some explanation stuff. And that's how I kind of stumbled upon, the director's cut. And I think there must have been a website at the time when the movie came out that had some additional like excerpts from that book, The Philosophy of Time Travel, on there, so you could kind of
Correct.
figure out what was going on. But like without that knowledge and without me Googling that stuff, I kind of just sat there like, I don't really know how to feel about this movie. Like it was weird and it was like interesting, but my opinion on it, like I didn't have enough time to process what was going on and if I liked or didn't like the movie. Like it was kind of just bizarre. And I think after I started reading some stuff and like figuring out what was going on, I'm like, all right, like, I think I appreciate it a little bit more. But like, I don't know. I still don't know how I really feel about the movie as a whole. And even with like some of the explanation things that I read about how there's like the primary timeline and then the whole 28 days is like this non-real timeline, where all these things happen. And like, I went into a deep dive article that basically was like explaining like very, very like minute details about how I don't remember any of the terms, but how like certain characters are this type of character in the timeline, and they're trying to push Donnie to do specific things so that we can get back to the real timeline, which is why earlier in the episode I had mentioned finding the artifact, because they kept referring to the plane as the artifact.
The jet engine is the artifact. Donnie is the living.
No, so Frank was the manipulated dead. Gretchen was the manipulated living. Actually, no. I think she was manipulated.
She's
living
also
too, but
manipulated
she
dead. I think Donnie is manipulated living. Maybe.
I think anybody who dies in the timeline is manipulated dead, and then everyone else is manipulated living. So she would have been manipulated dead, but she didn't interact with Donnie the way Frank did.
Yeah. So are these concepts outside of this movie, or do these exist from
I don't think so.
this movie?
I believe they only exist within the book that was in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, I guess without the director's cut and without knowing these other things, how would anybody know any of this stuff?
I mean, it's the same way that, like, how what happened to Tony Soprano at the end of Sopranos. Like, what happens in Lost half the time. It's kind of like left open ended for like the viewer.
I mean, Lost is a bad example because Lost had a bunch of stuff that came out in DVDs and stuff like that like
Yeah,
helped
but
you kind of
there was
piece
still
things
so
together.
much that like there was still so much that was just unanswered and lost. So.
Yeah.
Stuff in DVDs is tie-along material, and that's the
Yeah.
same as
I
a
know.
director's cut.
Yeah, I guess. But I guess watching this movie as it is, like I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing for everything. Like you look at something like Breaking Bad and like you kind of, I guess Breaking Bad's a bad example because this is a thing that deals with supernatural or, whatever you want to classify it as.
Yeah, I get what you're saying though.
I don't know. Like I kind of wish that there was more, maybe not even explanation in the movie, just more of these sort of like maybe not even world building, just like more of these types of not even answers. I don't even need answers. I just want more of the ability to gain the knowledge of why things can happen. It doesn't have to be like or hit me over the head or like hold handing. And maybe if I watch the movie again, maybe some of that stuff is apparent in certain scenes. I don't know. But like I feel like I don't know. Maybe watching the director's cut would be the way to kind of figure it out.
From multiple viewings,
if you
will catch on.
If you rewatch it, you're gonna look for different things. Yep.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Because like this is a movie like when I watched, I was like so excited. I was so confused when it ended. I like loved every second of it, but then I was like, I gotta go fucking digging and just find out what the fuck's going on because this is what I think, but I don't know if what I'm thinking is right. And I love shit like that, like like stuff that makes me. I thought about this movie like the first time I saw it for like days afterwards, like just like was like, what is going on? Like what did I just watch?
Yeah,
and I love that. Honestly, one of my favorite things about this movie is the soundtrack, like the original score though, not the like the music. It's just like creepy.
The soundtrack is great too.
Soundtrack's great too, but yeah, like the score of that movie is so good. It just it nails that like weird, like eerie vibe, and it's I love it.
I don't know. I guess, but like, I
do think it's a multiple viewing movie though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never gonna watch it again, but
of course.
Yeah, Brenden hates movies. So.
I do, but reading the stuff that I read made me appreciate it more, I guess. And I like the concepts, and maybe that's why I guess I wish there was a little bit more of that in the movie because I would have liked to.
Fuck, I feel like you should have watched the director's cut. I think you would have liked this movie a lot more if you watched the director's cut.
Someone else told me to watch the director's cut. I forget who. They were like, "Oh, if you watch the director's cut, trust me, just watch the director's cut."
Yeah.
Because I bet that's what it is. I bet there was just a little bit more of like, because it's kind of there. It's just not there.
Like, no, so there's a scene, and I was saying this earlier, where they're watching those slides. I don't even know if it happens. I actually don't even think it happens. It's during the part where the religious lady's talking to the class, and they're going over things, and in the director's cut, it basically shows Donnie Darko with a gun. And like a cartoon version of him on these slides, except it's not him, but it's like basically everything that's happening in the movie is part of a slide from like what that like lady's showing the classroom, and they make it like very eerie kind of, and it's one of those things where you're like, oh, yeah. It definitely explains. It definitely makes things a little easier to follow.
I mean, in the regular version of the theatrical release of the movie, I guess during one of those sessions they do have a slide, or it's when Patrick Swayze's character is like speaking to all of the school children, like in that hall.
That's what it is.
He shows a slide that says like something, and this is about Frank, and it's like a slide of Frank.
Yeah.
The thing about the Frank character that's confusing to me though is like, does Frank go to their school?
Frank has graduated from the school, like the sister.
Yeah, I think he's the sister's boyfriend or something.
He is the sister's boyfriend.
Yeah. Do they explain
that? He's at the party. I
want to say in the director's cut they do a better job of explaining.
No, so hold on.
In the regular theatrical trailer, they're at the party at the end.
Yeah.
They're at the party at the end, and Gyllenhaal walks in and says, "Where did Frank go?" and somebody says Frank went out to get beer, and then Donnie walks into the kitchen and says Frank's
Frank
out
was
to
here.
get beer.
Yes. So yes, I do remember that, but I was confused because I feel like, unless I missed it, up until that point, no one else ever mentions Frank.
They don't. There's no reason to mention Frank. We don't deal with the sister that much.
They sit down and have one of the opening scenes is them having dinner. Like, they sit down and have dinner multiple times, and I'm pretty sure in that first dinner scene they talk about her boyfriend. They just don't ever say Frank. And when the
it would make sense not to mention him until the end, anyways.
Well, that part is true. But then when the parents go to his therapist and they're like, "Oh, has he mentioned his friend Frank, the giant bunny?" I understand that the giant bunny part doesn't make any sense, but
that's probably the thing that throws them off. If somebody goes up to you and says, your kid has been seeing a giant bunny, its name's Frank, you're not going to cling on to the name. You're going to cling on to the fact that your 18-year-old has a giant imaginary friend rabbit.
Yes, but also I feel like if the parents were going to sit there and stew on that, they're probably going to be like, the only Frank we know is,
rabbit stew.
is I don't know, Maggie Gyllenhaal's boyfriend. I don't know what her character's name is in the movie.
I can't remember either. I do know the little sister's name though. It's Samantha.
That is true.
It's Samantha.
So
that's what the S comes from. How old was she supposed to? I don't understand what her and her friend group was supposed to be. I felt like everyone else,
she was like the younger girl. Like that was.
What was like everyone else was like.
What was the Netflix show about them?
That's no, definitely not.
Because I felt like all of her friends that were in like the little dance troupe might have been maybe freshmen in high school, and then she was like, I don't know, a fifth grader. I was confused.
Yeah, they were all pretty young.
Sometimes I doubt your commitment.
Like the Chatop girl seemed to be friends with her, but she was in classes with Donnie.
Yeah, I don't know. Her age, it was also confusing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I also will say I do love the Smurf banter. Like it reminded me of like a Kevin. It reminds me of a Kevin Smith film in some ways. Like sometimes this movie just goes off on like Kevin Smith.
Just
like
that scene felt so out of place though for me. Like completely out of place for me.
So, what is your thoughts on Sarita? Like what earmuff girl?
No, I know who it is. I don't know.
By the way, she's also in what's it called? Disney Plus Marvel show, WandaVision. She's a character in the WandaVision. She has like a small little part in it.
Huh.
She's been in a ton of stuff.
I can't picture.
She does look look familiar. Like I've seen her in other things. I don't know. What am I supposed to think about that character? I mean,
because when I left this movie the first time watching it, I was like, what did she know? Like, like what is her significance to this movie? Like, she's always looking at Donnie like she knows Donnie's not in the right timeline. You know what I'm saying? Like she always seemed like she.
It does feel like she knows more than she should.
Same with the mother, though.
Yeah, no,
the mother is the same way. Like
so
the mother seems like she knows what's going on.
So I didn't pick this up from that, but what I can say at least is from the thing that I did read, kind of dissecting some of the stuff in the movie.
It's that she's like a saint.
Oh no, I didn't see that. The thing I was basically saying is that some of the characters in the timeline, it basically made it seem like the thing that I was reading was that this movie is basically Deathloop, where they didn't say Deathloop, but I'm just now making this connection to basically explain it to what I'm trying to say to you, Todd, is that this movie is basically Deathloop, where Donnie's character in the movie keeps resetting the timeline, and like basically when he wakes up and resets back to October 2nd, he doesn't have his memories, but other characters retain some of the knowledge and can like try to push him to get to the correct, basically line up all the pieces so that he can do the right thing to reset it fully, which is kind of what you're doing in Deathloop. So and then when you do get back to the main timeline, some of the characters can retain some of that knowledge, which is why at the end of the movie,
but they like lose it pretty quickly. It's like almost having a dream, like waking up from a dream and like you
Yeah,
remember stuff.
it's kind of that. It's just like like it's why Gretchen and Donnie's mom wave to each other, because it's like they don't know each other, but they do know each other, but they just don't really know why.
Like, yeah, exactly.
But I'm wondering if the reason why that character wears earmuffs is because she can hear Frank.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, never thought about that.
The earmuff thing is interesting to me because she's wearing earmuffs all the time, but she's
Frank's
not.
never in the school with him though.
Maybe she can hear something.
I mean, then he's wearing them at the end.
He
like
takes them from her. Yeah, but when that scene happens where he like goes up to her and says like, things won't always be this way for you. She drops her notebook and it says like Donnie Darko on it with hearts.
Yeah, I think it was clear she had like a crush on him.
Yeah,
but yeah, I read something, I can't remember what it said, but it was like she embodies like pureness, and I forget what it was. It's saying like she was like very pure of heart and everything, and like when it comes into like the religion ties and everything, but I can't remember what the hell it was saying. But that was always something like, I remember that scene very, very clearly when he like she's like, it's not always going to be this bad. And I was like, what the fuck was that?
I think that part is, maybe kind of like how Cole starts to remember things in Deathloop. I feel like that might be kind of what's happening to Donnie, is he's starting to regain his memories, or at least regain why he's trying to do everything.
At that point, Donnie knows what needs to be done, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Like, as the movie has a lot of good concepts, I just don't know if like the base film, the way it's presented, is like enough for me. Maybe someday I will rewatch it, but I'll watch the director's cut and see if that changes my opinion on the movie. Because like I want to like it. I know it's like got that cult classic status that there are people that love this movie. It just
Brenden, have you ever seen Memento?
No.
Yeah, it's like Nolan's best movie. It's literally Nolan's best movie.
I think it was like, I think the time I picked Prestige, I had considered doing Memento.
I only bring it up because I feel like with Donnie Darko, it's a film where you walk away like thinking more about the film than you've actually learned.
Memento's the same
and
way.
I wonder if Memento's the same way, and I'm curious to see if Brenden would like Memento.
I think you would definitely. I think you would definitely like.
I mean,
Memento.
I can pick Memento. I have no problem. I haven't rewatched that movie in such a long time, but I would.
Same.
I would rewatch it.
I think Brenden
It's
would.
A great movie, but I don't.
It is.
Yeah, do
It's Christopher Nolan's. It's Christopher Nolan's like second movie.
Playing experiments at this point.
Yeah, you guys are all just like forcing Mike's hand here.
No,
I mean we're not.
I'm fine with it.
I think me and Mike had recently talked about Memento being a potential pick for him, anyways.
Yeah.
Like within the last couple months.
I saw Memento in the theater, and I walked out of that movie, and like that blew my mind. That movie, like I remember walking out, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" That was like that. What did I just watch? And that was so good.
Was Mike's pick The Prestige?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mike might have consistently the best pick so far. Aside from MI6, Mike might have the best pick.
I don't know why you hated that movie so much.
I didn't hate the movie. It just like I don't know.
Did you say the most consistent picks? Because I think I have the most consistent picks.
All right,
it's not good.
Consistently good picks, not just consistent theme wise. Because thank you for calling. Thank you for answering. What was the movie called?
Sorry to bother you.
Sorry to bother
Sorry
you.
to bother you.
Why do the fuck did I say thank you for calling? I don't know.
Oh no.
So Sorry to Bother You, Prestige. Is this your fourth movie coming up, or did you already pick a fourth movie?
I feel like he had a fourth.
Hold on. Am I six? Well, it wasn't 6. I don't think it was 6. Anyway,
Well,
but anyway,
Mission Impossible. Then you
wasn't
picked
it?
Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah.
Sorry to bother you.
Then Prestige.
Oh, I did Black Dynamite.
Oh, Black Dynamite. In Black Dynamite, I mean,
Yeah.
it has some scenes that I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but overall, I think good movie.
Small dick scene is like one of the.
Oh, I'm not
scenes
talking about the small dick scene. I mean, there's definitely some scenes that are like, I can't, like, I don't know how to engage with this scene. Like when he's talking about, there's just a lot of scenes where it's like, am I supposed to laugh? I don't know if I'm I don't know what to do here.
Movie.
It is
I'm
a good
glad
movie though.
I never watched that movie. And that movie.
I would have never watched that movie if Mike didn't pick that.
Man, it's so good. It's so good.
There is Black Dynamite was really good. Just like Oh my
It's so
god,
ridiculous.
it's so
just so
good.
ridiculous.
Just like so many of the scenes in that. Todd, I think you missed that episode of the podcast though.
I did. That's what I'm saying. I'm like pissed I missed it.
I still can't get over the scene in Black Dynamite where he's on the phone with his like grandmother or whatever, talking about like whoever, and he just fucking slams the phone. Like it is so good.
You promised your parents to look after your brother Jimmy, and then
Oh,
and like she's still talking, and you watch like the split screen push her out of the frame.
Oh, it's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. The fight scene in the fucking in the billiards club. Oh, so good. Anyways, back to Donnie Darko. Yeah, I don't know. I want to like the movie. I kept saying to Jen while we were watching, I was like, "Do you like this movie?" She's like, "I mean, I get why people like it." I'm like, I don't know.
What was Jen's overall thought on it by the end of it?
The music's good. I mean,
Yeah,
she's seen it before. I didn't really
Oh,
ask her.
okay.
I didn't really ask her. Yeah, Jen has seen movies. I'm the only weirdo here who hasn't seen movies. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it definitely has a lot of things in there, and like, you can kind of like now that I'm reflecting on it more. There's like, do Drew Barrymore's character and the science teacher, are they a couple?
Yeah. Remember, they're in bed. They're in bed at the end.
At the end, okay. I just want to make sure I remember that scene properly. That they were in bed together. Because there's that one quick scene in the teacher's lounge or something in the school where they both look at each other and they just say Donnie Darko and like laugh, and I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. But now it does if they're in the separate timeline and they're like trying to push him to do the thing, because like both of them actively push him towards figuring out how to get back to the original timeline. She writes cellar door on the thing. She puts the girl next to him on purpose. He gives her the fucking book. Like he gives her that time travel book. I would have liked to have seen him interact with Miss Death or whatever, Lady Death, Grandma Death, whatever they call her. I think Roberta Sparks, maybe? Roberta Sparrow.
Roberta Sparrow.
Roberta Sparrow.
But I also kind of love that like her thing is she just keeps going to the mailbox, and the way he interacts with her is the letter. It makes me think that, oh my God, now that I'm thinking about it, it makes me think that she has been waiting for Donnie to do that, put that letter there for like forever, and that's what she's constantly trying to do. Holy shit.
I think they explained that. Like, she's not even that crazy person.
Brendan's starting to like the movie.
Yes.
He just needed to vocalize his thoughts.
So, like, I liked the movie a lot, but like the more I dug into it, this was like I think I saw it in like 2002 or 3, and the more I dug into it, the more I was just like, I really like this movie now. Fuck. It was like, it's just like
that.
Makes
like that just happened
in
in real time. Like that is me right now processing this movie and that happening. To be fair, I've been so busy moving that I watched this movie today, 3 hours ago. So like I am like still freshly processing the movie. But fuck, interesting. So I guess the other part is though, like, why does this exist? Is the purpose of it? There is no purpose. The timeline just gets fucked up, and the only way to like Donnie is supposed to die, but something happens that sets the timeline off, and like.
Well, I think it makes him see that there's something after life after death. Like it's like the whole thing of, he was not someone who probably believed in something like that, and like the more he embraced it, the more he knew he was going somewhere, and it wasn't like life wasn't just over. It wasn't that simple.
Well, I also think that he was living without a purpose, and then he realized that his purpose was that he needed to die for everyone else to live.
100%.
That was one of my initial interpretations of it too, and then because, as I said, watching it the second time made me more confused. I decided to start looking into things, and I was reading how the whole timeline splitting thing was, how do I put this? Essentially, like it's not that he had to die; it's just that in order for time to be reset properly, he ended up dying in the process.
Well, I read that if he didn't die. And like allow
no, he has to die.
Yeah, he has to. The other world would have been like destroyed.
he had
basically.
to
Like,
put the jet engine where it needed to be in order to reset the timeline. It's just that where it needed to be also happened to be where he was sleeping. So like it did have to kill him. But I think they had also implied that the same thing happened to Grandma Death in the past. Like she went through like a similar thing, and like you don't necessarily have to die. It's just that in order for things to go back to the way they were, or to reset things, he did have to die.
Yes.
I phrased that poorly.
Yeah,
But
no,
essentially,
I
like for him to fix the timeline, he did end up having to be at the wrong place at the wrong time for the jet engine to fall on.
Yeah, I think part of the anomaly here in this situation that offset the timeline was that he didn't die, and that's why the timeline splinters off. And now that I'm thinking about it, I thought it was bizarre that his mother didn't really look sad at the end of the movie, and she must be one of the few people that has like the most memory of what happens, because it's almost as if she knew what was going to happen in order for things to go back.
So like I think in the director's cut too, and I could be wrong, it might have happened in the original, I'm just blanking, but I'm pretty sure there's several points in the movie where she's like, something's happening right now. Or when they sit on the bed together, I'm pretty sure she's aware of
She's smoking a cigarette and she says something, yeah.
Yes. Once he rubs him, she's like, he's like, you're fucked up, son. She's like, I wouldn't have it any other way, or something like that. But I think that at that interaction, she knows she's aware that something's not right with what's going on right now. And like,
she says something to the therapist too.
Yes.
That makes you think like she knows that something's going on, and that it's wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, she's like upset and says, if you think that this is what's gonna make things right, then you need to do what you think is gonna make things right. So she knows that something has to be set into place. I guess just the other part too is like, how does so I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. Because I guess the movie really does. I don't. Maybe it's what Todd said. Maybe it's that Donnie feels like he has no purpose, and giving him a life full of things that would make other people happy aren't what make him happy.
A big key of it is him losing his virginity too, and like getting that out of the way, so then he could do this, and like
Oh,
like,
so he's just Casper and he has unfinished business.
Yeah, right. No, but like that was a huge part of it though. Like he could, like I think that was a huge part of him letting go. Like because he was like never experienced that. That was his first experience.
So is that why when he is in hypnotherapy, he's like aggressively talking about sex?
Yes.
Because he's like, that scene is kind of bizarre because he's like aggressively talking about sex.
Yeah, it's like basically like a teenager's mind that like it's going through all that shit.
Huh. Was Jake Gyllenhaal a big actor before this?
No, he did like, I think it was Bubble Boy before this, maybe. I don't know. I think this was like one of his first movies.
Was this a breakout role for him or no?
No, it didn't do well until like years later, I don't think.
Yeah, it's very much a cult movie.
Interesting.
But it became like a huge deal after the fact.
Yeah.
After bombing in the theater.
I'm wondering. Oh, I'm like trying to think. I'm wondering if like I'm like, I guess I'm just trying to figure out why, unless it's just like the whole.
I do not remember Jake Gyllenhaal in City Slickers.
Oh, I don't either.
Oh, he's the son. I think he's fucking yeah. I think that was his first.
I'm trying to think if like the reason why the anomaly is set off in order for Donnie to like trigger other events into happening, like would fucking Patrick Swayze's character, outside of the anomaly happening and him having these like visions of his house burning down and being arrested, didn't happen, would he like continue to just be a pedophile? So like him having these deja vu moments and then getting back to the prime timeline and making him kill himself? Is that like that? Like, I'm wondering if the surviving characters in the main timeline needed these deja vu moments to move their life forward in a particular way, and that's why Donnie became like the architect of moving those pieces forward. Because that would mean like his purpose, like if he felt like he had no purpose in his life, his purpose would be fulfilling
change those around him.
Yes. Yeah.
To fulfill other people's.
Yes. Yeah. Like he is the cog that is missing to kind of put other things into motion, which would be like fucking Patrick Swayze.
It was also necessary for the fire at Patrick Swayze's house in order for the mother of the the mother of the dance thing to not be able to go on the field trip.
Yes.
Which puts the mother and the sister on the plane together. Donnie's mother and sister on the plane together.
Going back to what I originally said, though, when I said, like, oh, it kind of is like, now, I forgot one thing of, like, saying how, like, this PTA meeting of, like, it seems like everything I'm watching in live these days, but there's also the part where the religious lady, I keep on forgetting her name, she's like still standing up for Patrick Swayze after she knows he's a pedophile. Like there's still, and I'm like, that's just shit that goes on now.
I know, yeah.
Like,
there's a lot of parallels to like what's.
Yeah, like it was like I was like, so like they know he's a bad person, then they're still gonna, because like they can't be wrong. Like she can't be wrong. Like she can't look like a fool. So like she's gonna like still defend a pedophile.
Yeah, you gotta double down. You gotta double down.
I was like
always double down on 11.
I was watching it 2 nights ago, and I'm just like, man, this seems like what I'm watching on the news recently. What the fuck is this shit?
What I will say too is one of the things that stuck out to me is every time they played his like motivational, whatever the fuck his thing is, like his videos to the kids or whatever. When we're done, pull that up on YouTube or Amazon Prime or whatever. Just go to that scene, or I'm sure you could probably pull it up on YouTube. And then,
do the kids act weird?
Huh?
Do the kids act weird? I didn't even think to look.
It's bizarre. It just seems like it seems like videos I've seen before, like things you'd see in school or like in like some religious thing. But the music that is playing, listen to it, and then go pull up. I don't think it plays on the level Dire Dire Docks, but it sounds like Mario 64 water level music. Just listen to them. Yes. Listen to them side by side. It's like eerily similar. Like every time it played in the movie, I was like, all I can think about is Mario 64 right now. This is so bizarre.
Unrelated to that, for some reason, I know in like maybe it was because of this movie. In the last few days, I was trying to remember what was that song by Chicago that sounded just like that. And I did find the song eventually. I don't think it was what was used in Donnie Darko, but there was a song, Hardest Habit to Break. That's the name of the song. That one sounds a lot
Button
like...
to Button?
Yes, that also sounds a lot like Dire Dire Docks. It doesn't. But yes, Hardest Habit to Break, I believe, sounds like Dire Dire Docks. Listen to that later.
All right, I will do that. A few other things I wanted to point out. There is a scene towards like, it's in the first half of the movie, maybe the like first quarter of the movie, where it must be when they're first showing the school or whatever, and it shows like the girls doing their dance number, like outside of the school or whatever. And there's a slow motion scene there, and maybe I just didn't see it correctly. Maybe I looked away and then looked over, but there's a slow motion scene there where the girls, after they're done dancing, go to like high five, and they like miss ridiculously, and I'm just like, why did they not reshoot this scene? Like, it's a slow motion cut of a missed high five. Why are we not reshooting that?
Bro,
it's a $3 million movie.
Well, listen, they're trying to be as real, because like, how many high fives did you miss when you were a little kid? You're like, well, whoops.
No, Todd's going to bat. Everything that fucking who's this guy? Everything that fucking Richard Kelly does, Todd's fucking.
Dude, the guy has disappeared since the box. The guy hasn't made a movie since like 2007, I think. Which is weird, because people kind of dug him as like that indie kind of guy.
And then he made Southland Tales.
fucking love that movie. I want you guys to watch that movie so bad because there's a scene with Justin Timberlake in that movie where he does like a song and everything, and it's kind of weird, but he does it to like a killer song, and it's so good. That movie's got like so many great ideas, but I think the execution is like way more confusing than Donnie Darko. You'd probably be like, Donnie Darko would look like the most coherent movie ever if you watched that compared to Southland Tales.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to mention, and that's all I got to say about Donnie Darko, is in the scenes with Donnie in the therapist's office, for some reason, I don't know if it's the lighting or the angle of the shot or what, his eyebrows are so fucking weird looking. They look like they're shaved off, but it's just bizarre. Like, he doesn't look like that in any other part of the movie, but for some reason in those scenes, his eyebrows look all weird. I don't know. Every time one of those scenes happen, I'd like nudge Jen. I'd be like, look at this fucking guy's eyebrows. What's going on here? I don't know. It's just very bizarre. I notice little things. Whenever I'm watching movies for the PTC Movie Club, I keep my phone out in a notes tab, and I just constantly take notes of any thought that comes in my head about the movie, because it just makes me be more analytical.
Has the asshole
and pay more
like,
attention.
bully dude that's the creep who was
No, I
with
don't
Seth
think so.
Rogen?
I don't think so. I looked it up.
Anything else?
I looked it
Dude,
up.
that guy-
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say that guy's like really convincing at that role. Like he's very, very convincing. Like I feel like that guy could have been in some other stuff. You know, like he was barely in the movie and I fucking hated it. He's like watching Joffrey almost. He was so good at being the bad guy that like just like fuck this guy, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Does anyone else have anything else to add or say about Donnie
Shut up.
Darko's?
No.
The only thing that I was going to say is I don't understand why it was a period piece.
Yeah, is there any
We haven't
reason?
talked about this recently. It's
so funny you say that because like I keep on forgetting it's even in the time period that you say. Like like when you're like, oh, it's the 80s. I'm like,
And they make reference to it twice in the movie at least, because they have the conversation at the dinner table about the sister who is going to vote for Dukakis or whatever.
Oh.
And then on the fucking whiteboard on the fridge, it's also written on one of the scenes when the father goes into the
vote
kitchen.
for Dukakis?
Yes.
Well, they also in the scene with the science teacher, when he gives Donnie the book, they're referencing like, oh, in order to time travel, you'd need a
metal craft of some sort.
A metal craft of some sort. And Donnie says, what, like a DeLorean?
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I like that movie.
Back to the Future would have just come out, like within the last couple of years.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't understand the political statement unless that's just the director making a statement. I don't know.
So this director, like Southland Tales, is literally all about him making statements that are very ambiguous. Like you have to like basically dig deep into like Southland Tales deals with like going to war and war trauma and like stuff like that, but like they don't ever show anything with war in that movie, and it's like very unclear like what he's trying to get at, because like I think he had such a small budget to do that film, and probably with this film too, that's probably trying to make it as coherent as possible on such a small. But I think Jake Gyllenhaal was on Howard Stern recently, and he was saying I think they filmed Donnie Darko in like 20 days. Maybe like that's
Weird.
it. They filmed, like they pretty much banged it out, and yeah.
So I'm just looking at a quick little excerpt about S. Darko that says a 2009 sequel, S. Darko, set 7 years afterwards, centers on the now 18-year-old Sam, Donnie's younger sister. No one has seen this movie, right?
No,
I have.
Sam
I
is
own it.
troubled by her brother's death and begins to have problems with sleepwalking, along with strange dreams that hint at an impending major catastrophe. The sequel received extremely negative reviews. Kelly said he had no involvement in the sequel, and as he no longer owns the rights to the original. In 2017, Kelly said that he resents being asked about the sequel, and he'd never seen it.
So there's no one famous in the sequel except for Elizabeth Berkley. who is
I don't-
Jesse from Saved by the Bell.
I don't know anything about it.
And John Hawkes is actually in it, which is like a really good actor, and no one else.
So, and then there's another excerpt here that says, in 2017, Kelly, the director, revealed that he had ideas for a new sequel that is much bigger and more ambitious than the original. In January 2021, he announced that an enormous amount of work had been done on the script. He was inspired to do so after meeting James Cameron in 2010, who found the film disturbing and had Kelly explain to him what happens to Donnie at the end of the film. Cameron suggested to Kelly that he continue working on the project, which made Kelly realize that there was, quote, something really big, something epic that could be done.
That's cool. I like that another director was basically like, I really enjoyed this movie because it was so like out there.
Yeah.
You got to tell me what was going on.
Yeah, but it was Michael Bay.
No, it was James Cameron.
Oh, James Cameron.
James Cameron.
Yeah, James Cameron's better.
Michael Bay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you should
If it was
get
Michael
on
Bay,
to that. I'm gonna make 3 more Avatar movies.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Well, it doesn't matter. James Cameron made one of the best movies of all time, Terminator 2. So, I mean, he gets a free pass as far. And True Lies. He made True Lies too, didn't he? Another great movie.
I'm not sure.
I couldn't.
The bully,
Also
by the way. The bully, by the way, is the lead singer of Phantom Planet.
Wait, so he's
wrong song. It was from the same series, but California was what I wanted.
Wait, so that's what's his name's brother then?
His name is Alex Greenwald.
The drummer of Phantom Planet is in all of Wes Anderson's movies. He's the main character of Rushmore. Why am I blanking on his name?
I don't know. But apparently this guy was engaged to Brie Larson at some point. Oh, Jason Schwartzman was part of that band?
Yes. Yeah, he was a drummer.
Weird.
I think
Weird.
his brother's the lead singer. They might be related.
They might be related. They have different last names at least.
Okay. Jason Schwartzman, honestly, check out some of his music. He has 2 albums that he literally did every single instrument himself and composed it and put it all together and sang over it. And there's some great stuff in there.
Yeah, but he tried to kill Scott, so I'm good. Like, I'm good with him.
But Scott was kind of a dick up until that point anyway.
For real.
I will say, so Jen had mentioned, I couldn't find the interview, but she had mentioned that, like, in a recent interview, the director was asked, is Donnie dead? And he wouldn't answer the question. So, I don't know if that means that, like, I guess I don't know what that means.
Donnie Darko Cinematic Universe.
Ho, ho, ho.
That's what it means.
Because if he's going to make a sequel to the movie that's more ambitious, like, does that mean that Donnie's not dead?
He doesn't like give any of his cards away, you know?
Maybe he's going to make Enter the Donnieverse.
Ooh.
And it's going to be Donnies from all different timelines.
I just hope that we find out who the real Donnie Duckets is. That's all I want to know.
Right? For real.
All right. Are we pulling the plug on Donald Darko?
Donald J. Darko. Yes.
All right. I just think we should all watch S. Darko, though. Anyways.
I mean,
give it a few dollars.
Does S. Darko stand for Shrek Darko? Is that what that is? Because if it's Shrek Darko, I'll watch it.
Do we humor him and do we say yes?
I was just going to ignore it.
Yeah, that's usually the better call, is just ignoring it. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening this week's episode 284. Actually, fuck. Mike, have you decided what your pick is?
Yeah, we'll just go with Memento. I think that's a good idea.
All right, we're doing Memento, locking it in. Mike is all about Memento. He loves fucking...
If this is...
Wait, so if we're going to make fun of Todd for doing Jake Gyllenhaal movies, do we make fun of Mike for doing
Nolan movies?
Christopher Nolan
movies?
Yeah, I'll do Following after this.
Right.
Actually, I should do Insomnia. I haven't seen Insomnia.
Oh, you should watch Insomnia. Insomnia is great. But I mean, if I would stick with Memento. Insomnia is like such an underrated movie, and it pisses me off that no one ever brings that movie up.
Listen,
because Al Pacino is so fucking good in that movie. And
Al Pacino is a great actor.
Yeah. Well, like the whole
Dom
point
is
of
saying that, but I feel like he's thinking about
I
some
know. I feel
fucking
like he's
Jack and
joking.
Jill shit.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
That's what I was.
I said Al Pacino.
Oh,
Oh, all right, that's better.
But Insomnia takes place in Alaska when it's like, I think it's light out all day long, or maybe it's dark out. I can't remember. Whatever happens in Alaska, but what's the
Both.
guy? Yeah. Okay. Both happens. Okay.
So
But what's his name? The comedian. Fucking. Who's the bad guy in it?
Robin Williams.
Robert
Robin
Williams
Williams.
is really good in it too.
so Dom's doing Disney ride movies. Todd's doing the Jake Gyllenhaal verse.
Bro, I've done 2 Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mike's doing the
Well,
Nolan
you've done
verse.
3 now, right?
No. No.
Prisoners. This one. There's at least one other Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
I
you
thought
picked.
there was another Jake
No, no.
Gyllenhaal movie picked.
I don't think there was. I think we might be misremembering things.
I think you guys want to lump Jake Gyllenhaal together with Ryan Gosling or whatever his name is.
What movies have you picked?
Maybe.
The other guys.
What was your first
The other
movie?
guys.
Your
Hereditary.
favorite movie.
No, that wasn't the first one because Dom wasn't here for
Yeah,
the first
no.
couple.
Hereditary
Dom was here
the
for
first
Hereditary, weren't you, Dom?
one. No.
No, I don't think so.
No, the first movie you didn't pick wasn't Hereditary.
Yes, it was.
That
Right
was
off
the
gate.
first thing we did.
Yes, and that's why you were
Off
so
the
pissed at me
bat.
for like months after that. Like,
So you
you're
did-
Like,
so you
Todd,
did
I'm
Off
not
the
Her-
bat,
doing
and
it
you were like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this.
Yes, exactly.
I was like, immediately.
No, I think it was
irresponsible.
Todd's second pick. I don't think that was his first pick.
No. First pick was Hereditary. Second pick was
Swingers.
Wait, what? No, Prisoners. Oh wait. Oh shit. I've done 5.
Hold on. I think Prisoners might have been Todd's first pick.
No, it was Hereditary, Prisoners.
He
Swingers.
picked Prisoners and Swingers as a
other
response
guy-
to
the
you
good
being so
guys.
upset with.
Yeah, I was like,
Hereditary.
I'll take a happy.
He started off
movie.
so poorly with you with
No,
Hereditary.
Todd's pick, every pick after Hereditary was Twitter vote.
Oh, that's true too. But yeah, but so it went Hereditary,
Prisoners.
Prisoners.
Oh, that makes sense.
Swingers.
Prisoners.
Swingers. Nice.
Prisoners. I'm pretty sure we watched. Was the November pick last year, and I jokingly said, "Oh, Todd picked a fucking Thanksgiving movie because don't they play? Don't they eat? Doesn't it take
Yes,
place during
it's a
Thanksgiving?"
Yes, it does. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There's got to be another movie that Todd picked that has Jake Gyllenhaal. Why would we do this?
I think I was just being an asshole when I said it the first
Guys,
time.
like giving me a hard time. You know?
I
Oh,
think
you
I
know,
just-
you know
I
what it
just
must.
associate Todd with Jake Gyllenhaal.
You know what it must be? It must be that in Todd's Twitter picks, there must have been other Jake Gyllenhaal movies.
I'm trying to think.
That might be the case.
Maybe.
You probably tried to push us to watch Jarhead.
No, it wasn't
So
Jarhead.
far.
Yeah.
Just name other Jake
Source
Gyllenhaal
code?
movies, and I'll tell you what it was.
I'll tell you. Right now.
What's the
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, Nightcrawler was the one that I was thinking of.
I didn't pick that, but that would have been a movie that like I would have considered picking down the line.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Nightcrawler was the one. What's Nightcrawler? The serial killer one?
No, he's like
No, he's
a reporter.
a photographer or
Yeah.
news reporter that like goes to like crime scenes or crash sites or
Okay.
whatever.
Love and Other Drugs.
I mean, I kind of wanted to. I wanted to pick Nocturnal Animals because I've never seen it, but I hear good things about that. That's another Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
Yeah, I don't. None of these seem like things that Todd even mentioned as being picks. Unless Nightcrawler was just one of the.
Zodiac. Zodiac was another
Zodiac.
one.
Zodiac
that-
might be-
Zodiac was
Yeah.
the one that I was
That was
thinking of. When I said
that's
serial
a-
killer,
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
Anyways, so Mike, you're locking in Memento.
Yeah, why not?
All right. So if you guys all have themes, I guess my theme, I need to pick what? What is mine going to be? What, Mandy Moore movies? Are we?
Wait, what was your last pick
If you-
again?
if you
What was
wanna
your
do
last
that now.
pick?
Are we?
That's fine.
Are we kicking it off with A Walk to Remember in December?
Oh,
A
please
Walk
don't
to
do that.
December, baby.
What was your last pick? I forget.
What was your last pick?
My last pick was The Big Sick.
Oh, okay. That was
Really?
great.
I feel like that's
No.
so long ago. There must
no.
be something in between.
I picked another movie after that.
Yeah.
You
You've
gotta
done
think.
Grave of the Fireflies.
You got to think
you've
that there's
done
been
Watch
three.
Remember.
There's been 3 movies since my last pick. 3 months. So like that's a long time.
Brenden, you're
It's
going
a
to
lot.
pick a Jake Gyllenhaal if we keep on going with this because the Division movie's in post production right now.
I'm not picking that. I've picked Grave of
Oh, you
Fireflies.
picked your name. I forgot about that.
That wasn't
Your
my
name
last
was
pick. That wasn't my last
I
pick.
think it
That wasn't
was.
your last pick, but I'm trying to remember.
No, the
like,
Big
your
Sick
movie
was my
picks in
last pick.
general.
Was it?
I'm pretty
I
sure.
thought Your Name was after The Big Sick.
No. I went back-to-back anime, and Todd hated both of them, so I was like, I'm not doing an anime movie again. At least not a third one in a row. Maybe my next pick, though. Maybe my next pick would be Promare. No, Todd and Dom would hate that.
The craziest thing about Your Name is, like, I always used to give you guys shit about it being a Freaky Friday ripoff, and it was legit a Freaky Friday ripoff. That's why, like, it's just like fucking crazy.
My next pick's gonna be Freaky Friday.
I was just gonna say keep this up, and I'm picking Freaky Friday next. All right, so Memento locked in for November. So if you want to listen to us talk about...
No, my next pick is going to be Freaky.
Yes,
I was thinking about
that. No, Dom, my pick for December will be Freaky, and your pick for January will be Friday. And then
Todd's pick can be the Friday after next.
Bang.
Yeah, I love that movie.
And then Mike's pick can be the Car Wash.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's like a Dr. Dre movie, Ice Cube movie that I wanted to watch and I never watched it. I think it has like Eminem. Like I think like a bunch of rappers are in it.
Yeah, no, Snoop's definitely in it too.
Yeah, but I mention it because I'm pretty sure Ice Cube is like the lead actor in it.
The Wash.
The Wash, yeah, that's what it's called. I always wanted to see it, never saw it.
I do kind of know that title at least.
Maybe Ice Cube's not in the movie. I don't
know.
think
Ice Cube is.
You sure you're not thinking about Barbershop?
I've never seen any of the barbershop movies.
You didn't see any of the barbershops?
I don't think so.
Okay, here's my pick.
I never did either.
Mike, that's two of us. Todd, Dom, have you fucking?
I have not. I have not seen any of the barbershop.
Oh my goodness, movies. Mike.
Actually, I've only seen one. I don't think I saw the first Barbershop. I think I saw the second one. Was that one just called Barbershop 2? I think I saw that one.
So then none of us have seen Barbershop 1, Mike?
Maybe my theme for 2022 will be Tyler Perry films, because I don't think any of us have seen any Tyler Perry films.
No, don't make me do it.
Don't do it to us. Don't do it.
Don't make me go all Medea.
Go View Askew. Let's just do that.
Yeah, that's better.
All right. There it is. Memento, November. Thank you all so much for listening to this week's episode 284 of the Pass Controller Podcast. As always, if you want to keep up with everything we do, you can follow us on social media at Pass Controller. Visit us at passthecontroller.io. Listen to us everywhere podcasts are found by searching for Pass the Controller Podcast. And you know what? If you have Apple Podcasts, you don't have Apple Podcasts, either way, head on over to Apple Podcasts. Leave us a quick 5-star review. Let us know how much you love us. It is very beneficial. We really appreciate it. If you have a few bucks kicking around, you want to help support the show, you can do that by going to patreon.com/passthecontroller, becoming a patron, going to passthecontroller.threadless.com and getting yourself some sick swag, or going to twitch.tv/passcontroller and subscribing. And if you get Amazon Prime, you get a free sub every month. If you're not using it, use it on us or someone else you love, because that money's just going back in fucking astronaut Bezos' pockets. So you might as well give it to someone who could use it. You can find me at bgroom. You can find Mike at _Mycopath. You can find Todd at Toddy_by_nature. You can find Dom at PTC one little spark. And thank you all so much for listening to this week's episode 284. Until next time.